Hello, and welcome to Hopeful Conversations, brought to you by Robbie's Hope Foundation. I am your host, Kari Eckert. Joining me today is Oliver Stephen from Wales. Oliver was featured on Season 3, Episode 2 of Welcome to Wrexham, a FX smash hit, one of the most streamed series currently, and the entire series is filled with stories about mental health in the community and Wrexham Football Club. Oliver, thank you for joining us today and welcome to Hopeful Conversations.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I understand most people call you Olly. Is that okay for me too?
Yeah, that's fine. Only my mum calls me Oliver, and that's normally when I've done something bad. So Olly's good.
Still as an adult, does she do that?
Yes. I don't misbehave as much as I used to as a kid, so I don't get to hear it often, which is good.
Fair enough. From your website, oliverstephenphotography.com, I learned you could be described as a multi-disciplinary artist, but you do not care for that title. Tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words, if you will.
I just describe myself as a local idiot. Like I'm your average, standard, run-of-the-mill, standard issue idiot who's just managed to listen to people who are far smarter than me, and implement some of the stuff that they said. So I went to art school and I listened to people who were cleverer than me, and it had a positive impact on my life. And then I sort of realised, if I keep listening to some of these people who seem to know what's going on, maybe I can better myself. So I'm a link in a chain. I'm just passing something on that I've got from somewhere else. Sounds
like a lifelong learner to me.
Yeah.
And you draw, you paint, you're a photographer. Another quote I found, and I think this is really powerful: photography, quote, helps me out who I am and where I fit.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
I find that because I'm on the autistic spectrum, I struggle to connect with the world. It sometimes feels like there's a sort of barrier in front of me, and so I feel distanced. And oddly, using a camera, which is often a distancing device that people use to get sort of further away from things, makes me look at things, makes me see the world. So I actually pay attention. I see the little small moments. I see the things that are interesting, and through that, you can get into conversations with people. And the way that I work, because I work in sort of a documentary tradition, I start photographing things over a long period of time rather than like a little, short afternoon. And so I get to know the people that I'm photographing. And I've said this a few times recently, because I've only just had the realization that I've gone from being an observer of the community that's around me to being a participant in it. So photography gives me that. It gives me that access it gives me permission to talk and to see and to actually look at things and actually start connecting. So there was just a day when I picked the camera up where I suddenly realised that this is me, and I'm never far away from it. Like it's literally right there. And then there's a box of about 15 different lenses down beside me. Like I get worried sort of questions from people I know when they see me, and if they don't see the camera, where's the camera? Is everything all right? I'm like, oh yeah, it's in my pocket. It's the small one today, So yeah, it's me. I am the camera. The camera is me.
How big is the community that you live in, like size-wise?
I don't know what the number is, actually. It's a sort of mid-sized North Wales town. I'm sure I could Google it and find the number, but
I'm just kind of curious, like to give people context of like what kind of.
Let's see if I can Google it. Wrexham population, about 138,000 people.
Okay.
So it's not big.
No.
It's quite small. It's about the size of the area that I lived in London.
And Wrexham is considered like a working class town in North Wales.
Yes.
And you fit in what role in Wrexham? as Olly?
As a as a person, I came here in 2008 to go to the art school, and then they just couldn't get rid of me. I got a job as soon as I graduated. So I've been part of the art world here for, was it 17 years, 18 years, something like that. And I work in the art school as a support worker. So I work one-to-one with students who have learning differences. My job is to sort of reduce barriers to learning, take the really complicated art speak and then just translate it into English. So I take, paragraphs of material and then go, oh, he just wants you to just use the paintbrush on the thing, and, simplify it as much as possible. I also work in the university library, so I'm always helping people find books and, learn new things and just general sort of academic-y sort of stuff. Then my mum and dad lived here. My mum, oh, they both lived here. Sorry, they both lived here on the other side of town 50-something years ago. My mum did her teacher training on the other side of town. My auntie lived here for years. My mum was born like 30 miles up the road. So like Wrexham, there's history of Wrexham, sort of not in my blood directly, but like my family's been involved here in the past before. So it's a, yeah, it's a place I had a historical connection to, and then moving here just sort of solidified it. And now I was saying yesterday, like it's my adopted hometown. It's the only place where I've ever felt that I've fitted in, and it's
Nice.
home.
Does that feel good?
Yes, it does. I've never felt like this before, so it feels amazing. I now know what people. I never understood why people could wear like a T-shirt with the name of their town on it or the name of their city and be like, "What are you wearing that for?" But here now, I'm not wearing one today, but I'm nearly always wearing. Oh, actually, no, I am wearing something with Wrexham on it. There we go.
So the docu-series, Welcome to Wrexham, is it follows actor Ryan Reynolds as he purchases and manages Wrexham AFC, the third oldest professional football club in the world. How did you get involved in the series?
I got involved because I thought it would be funny initially. So my friend Bella, her partner Joe, was one of the camera operators on the first season, and he was asked by producers, "Oh, do you know anybody in Wrexham? Because you're from here, like anybody who might be interesting." So he went and asked Bella, "Oh, do you know any artists that are interesting?" She said, "Oh, Olly takes photographs of like the floodlights and has like a sort of mini obsession with photographing the outside of the club. You might like his work." So she showed the work to him. He then showed the work to the producers. The producers liked my work, and he said, "Oh, we'll do a test shoot." And so I said, "Oh yeah, cool. We'll do a test shoot. That would be amazing." And I fully thought I would just end up swearing a lot, that I'd pass out, that I'd wet myself. Something would just go terribly wrong. And then when the new season came out, I could tell everybody, "Oh, I did a test shoot for that." But it went so bad they can't show any of the footage.
It didn't go that way, though. What happened?
No, it didn't. And then after I finished it, I didn't hear from them for like 2 months. So I just thought, oh, it did. It went terrible. And then I just got a message from Joe going, "Oh yeah, producer's really interested in you. Are you free tomorrow? We want to do like an hour-long sit-down interview. We're going to get you into the stadium." I'm like, "What? Oh no, this wasn't the plan." So I've sort of blundered my way in, just thinking, "Oh, I'll help Bella out and I'll help Joe out, and it might be funny." Now I'm doing podcasts with people, and I'm known around the world, and I get stopped in the street, and I'm still like, me, like, I think you've got the wrong person. Yeah, life deals you a strange hand sometimes.
Right? That's very true. Do you still consider yourself a solitary person?
At my core, I'm an introvert, and I definitely I like my own company. I like being on my own, but community has come to mean a lot more to me than I thought it could. So yeah, I've not changed. I've just discovered a new part of myself. So I like both. But if I go out like on a match day, like I need the entire next day to just
Decompress.
Yeah. So I'm aware of my sort of emotional and psychological limits. So yeah, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. The hangovers I used to get when I drank are nowhere near as intense as the social hangovers that I get now, which I find
Really?
it blows my mind. Like, it shows me how much energy it takes me to talk to people and do stuff. I feel but it's a really great feeling of being drained. It's like the feeling I used to get after a run, like after pushing myself for like 6 miles. There's a tiredness that you get where you're like, oh, that was worth every second of it. So it's great. The
Healthy
hangover
tiredness.
blues were never worth it. They were always just, I feel sick, you know.
Wow. Can you share with us a little bit about your mental health journey? You mentioned that you're a recovering alcoholic. Is that the right language to use now?
Well, as far as I know, I didn't know I was one until I had a couple of health scares about 10, 11 years ago. And I figured, oh, I need to quit smoking. Um, I figured I needed to stop drinking for a bit because every time I'd have a pint, I'd need to have a smoke.
They were linked.
Yeah, so I thought, right, quit the booze for a couple of weeks. That'll get you over the cigarettes, and then, you'll be fine. And then about 2 weeks into quitting, I suddenly started noticing all the empty bottles of wine and whiskey and stuff around my room that I'd been hiding so my housemates didn't see it. I realised that I was like staying up late after they'd gone to bed so that I could have a couple of drinks. I was buying from different shops on different days so that no one could track really what was going on. And that just started to make me realise that, like, oh, I'm in a very dark place. And I've struggled with mental health ever since I was a teenager. But it was that period of time where I realised, oh, wait a minute, I'm drinking as a coping strategy. But I didn't think I had a problem because I had a day job. I was, working as a support worker, so I'm responsible for other people. I wasn't drinking during the day. I still had hygiene. And so I thought, I can't possibly have a problem because I'm a functioning adult doing a proper job. And then realised,
Mm-hmm.
no, none of that means anything. The problem is still there. So I went back to my fine art training that I got in my degree of reflective practice. We follow something called Driscoll's model of reflection, which is what, so what, now what. So what happened?
What?
Why is it
So what?
so
Now what?
now? Yeah. So it's just what's happened. Why is that important? What do we do next?
It's a
And
good,
it's simple. And so my
can be
tutor
applied
trained
to a
me.
lot of things.
Yes, I can. It's fantastic. So I'm always trying to teach that to people as much as I can because it's just a really, really basic framework that you can then
Who's
adapt.
from? You mentioned who that's from.
A Driscoll, I think it is. Driscoll, I think.
Okay. What? So what?
What
Now
now?
what?
What? So I found that
Thank.
helped me sort of process things and give me a sort of way of looking at them. So then I could get my camera out and I could take pictures, or I could draw, or I could paint, or I could write, or I could do something. And the diving into my art helped me to start dealing with things. And when you've got something in front of you that you can look at, you've kind of made it real. I know the feelings inside are real, but there's something about seeing them in front of you in an object that you can hold that, I don't know, it gives it a solidity and a concreteness that made me feel anyway like, oh, I can deal with this. I can process that. I can rip that up. I can set fire to it. I can change it into something else. I can draw over it. And then I just dove headfirst into dealing with everything. Like, and now it's 10 years later, and I'm, as my mate says, I'm frustratingly optimistic. So, which is the opposite of who I was.
And does that feel good?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It
Can you
annoys some
take us?
people, but no, go ahead.
Can you, can you take us back to those teenage years when you were struggling with mental health concerns? What kind of memories do you have of that, and maybe unhealthy coping mechanisms, or how you
Um,
wish things could have been different?
I was born in Manchester. That's in the north of England. My mum's Welsh, my dad's Scottish. I wasn't English enough for the English kids, and I wasn't Welsh enough for some of the Welsh people we knew. I wasn't Scottish enough for some of the Scottish people we knew. And then when we were 7, we moved down to London because my dad got a job down there, and his new boss had a spare house. So she let us stay in it for 6 months in this town. It's called Cobham. It's in Surrey. It's a really sort of, the bit we were in was very posh, and being a Manc kid with a Manc accent, working class family around posh kids, I got bullied. And then we only spent about 6 months, 7 months there, and then we moved to West London. And again, kid from Manchester around a sort of there's a 50-50 mix of like middle class families and working class families. But again, I couldn't fit in with the working class kids, and I couldn't fit in with the middle class kids, and I was too northern, and I wasn't properly southern, and I wasn't properly English, and I wasn't properly Welsh, and I wasn't properly Scottish. I supported the wrong football team, And it's not to say I didn't have friends, but that was sort of the beginning of me feeling like I don't really belong. I don't fit. I always felt like an outsider. Like I'd come to school late, so everybody else had established friendships, and I was there, for the final 2 years or 3 years of primary school. And then secondary school, you get to meet people from all over. And again, I didn't quite fit in. I was the weird arty kid. I didn't want to play football at lunchtimes. I didn't want to fight people. I didn't want to do all the sort of things that boys are supposed to do. So I got picked on for that. And it just sort of built up slowly. It wasn't like there was a sudden moment when it all just flipped. I just suddenly sort of realised in by the time I hit about 14, 15, 16, I didn't feel like other people. And I felt very, very aware of it. But at that point, I couldn't have told you why I felt that, and I couldn't have told you what was causing that. I just felt on the outside. I had a very small group of good friends. But yeah, I just never really fitted in. And then...
Did you articulate that with anyone? Like
I
a
didn't know how to
parent
tell
or a
it.
friend? No?
No, and because I've got learning differences, I didn't know what I was feeling wasn't normal.
Sure.
So I live entirely in here. And so I just thought, everybody feels like this, or everybody's like this.
You're pointing to your head. You live in your head.
Yeah. And realised that the way I read it in a book a few years back, and when I read this sentence, it just suddenly, everything made sense. And it was, a lot of autistic people feel like other people got handed an instruction manual when they were born, and we didn't get one. And so I feel like other people knew how to do social engagement. They knew how to, walk into a room and just make friends and just be cool and be, I didn't know how to do any of that. And, I'm growing up queer as well, because that's not the norm. Or at least it definitely wasn't back then. So, I remember trying to talk to mates when I was teenagers and saying, I think I like men as well as women. And they're like, oh, don't talk to me about that. I don't want to talk about that. You better be lying. We'll beat we'll beat the out of you. And so you just feel isolated and alone, and it piles up. It's not a on-off switch. It's just this slow sort of, you're sinking under the weight of it. And then if you don't, I used to self-harm. I've got scars on my arm from cutting myself with razor blades. I know when I started to drink and smoke weed and everything, that it was definitely, I look back now and it's definitely a coping strategy.
Coping mechanisms.
I pick
unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah. I pick partners that I shouldn't be with. I didn't just generally just do stuff that was self-destructive. And I didn't know that nobody else was feeling that way. So I just thought, well, everybody thinks and feels like this, don't they? The world's just terrible. We're all supposed to feel unhappy all the time. And it's, it took me going to art school when I was 29 to...
That's the changing point, you think?
Yes, it was. It was like within the first couple of weeks, with my tutor John McClenaghan just got me like thinking about like why are you making that brush mark? And then after that, you're thinking, well, why I'm making that brush mark because I want to say this. Well, why do I want to say this? Why do I want this subject matter? Well, that's coming from somewhere. That's coming from in here. So why am I feeling that? And it's just this sort of... It was just a step back from just me trying to figure out, like, I want to make a line look a certain way. It ended up being, oh my God, I'm depressed. So I got 4 years of counselling when I was at uni for free from the university itself. And that started making me sort of just deal with issues and talk about them to someone on a regular basis, and then pushing it straight into my work. So yeah, that 2008 was just that period where I could just go, right, because I remember going to uni, my parents have told me since that they thought I'd last about 2 weeks before I came home because of my sort of history of being unemployed and, just being in a bad place, not being able to hold a job down, not being very pleasant to be around. And now, I've got a first class honours degree in fine art. I've got an MA in art practice. I'm theoretically, if I pass the interview process and I can find funding, I'm starting a PhD in October.
Wow, exciting.
I do all this stuff that I do now, and it all comes from just deciding I need to change my life. And I went somewhere, basically cut all ties with my past, started afresh. Was lucky to have the mentor that I had, and yeah, so those feelings in my teenage years started to come out in the work, and I started to realize, I was way more depressed than I thought I was, and yeah, just very, very bad place. I wish I had someone. I wish the system had recognised that I had those difficulties. But there's this part of me that's grateful for the pain that I've been through because I get to do stuff like this. And if I hadn't have been through that, and if I hadn't been lucky enough to survive it and to not go through any of the attempts of, that I didn't do, I wouldn't have the impact I have on people now. There's a thing we say with a few of us that do support work. We like to hire people who've been broken, because then when they talk to a student, that student knows they know what it feels like. The person who is unwaveringly optimistic but has never faced difficulty, you don't know what's going to happen to them when things go wrong. So we'd always try and make sure that the people we hired had, overcome something. Because you have to be able to look at that student. You can't tell the student, it's all right, you can get through this, if you haven't tried. And so I wouldn't want to go through my life the way it's been in the past. But I'm in a position now where I don't like speaking highly of myself. I'm so far removed from self-praise and stuff. I just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
But I've had students thank me after they've worked with me for a couple of years and say, "Oh, I wouldn't have made it through without you." And you. Oh, I hate even saying the stuff they've said to me. They've said cliche things you see in films and TV, and you're like, really, me? What? So being British, self-deprecating, can't take myself seriously. Always try and knock it aside and insult myself instead. But yeah, the pain. I was lucky enough to survive it all and to be able to turn it into something. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. No one should think, oh, you know what, I want to go out and have a lot of emotional pain and depression so that years from now I can get over it and then help people. No, just go and help people. So yeah, teenage years shaped me. Art school helped me deal with it. I mean, the massive breakup that I had and discovering that I was an alcoholic was the sort of firing up the engine and moving forwards. And now I'm whatever this is now, whatever this is, I've become. Seems my new my new life is destined to be in front of the camera, apparently. So,
how does art play a role for you today? Is it Is it still therapy, or is it just part of who you are, part of your journey?
It's got to the point where it is, I don't want to say just a thing that I do, but it's like an autonomic reaction, like breathing, like sweating, like, anything else. Like, I just do it. It's so ingrained in me now. I don't really think about it. So like
Is it your
I'll
passion?
yeah, absolutely, 100%. Um, I love meeting people down the pub who see the work that I make and then say, "Ah, yeah, but you've got a degree, or you can do that. You've got access to that. I don't. And then say, well, no, I'm an idiot. Like, if you say you're an idiot, then we're on the same level. Then if I've done this, then you can do it. The trouble is, you've never had someone tell you that you can do it. The problem we find with most people with the arts is that, at least in this country, you hit about 12 or 13 years old, you go to secondary school, and either your art teacher or someone in your art class says, that drawing doesn't look realistic. And you go, oh, I must be terrible at art. I'll stop. And then you don't engage with it. Or you hear a word and you hear someone talking about, well, this work is, based off Michel Foucault's idea of heterotopias. And you're like, what? What's that mean? It's a canvas on a wall. No one ever explained to you what it meant. Like, people who've seen Tracy Emin's Bed or heard about Tracy Emin's Bed but don't know what the piece is actually about. And if you can reframe it to them in a really simple fashion, they're still welcome to not like it, but at least then they understand what she was doing with that piece and why she was doing it. But we just never tell people. We like to gatekeep the arts. We like to stop people from being in it. If you don't know the lingo, if you don't, I should be wearing like a beret and a cravat and, have tie-dye trousers and everything and, speak with a posher voice than I've got. But art's for everybody. The trouble is, artists don't want art to be for everybody, because then there's a chance that somebody out there might be able to do something they do better than them, and then it puts them out of a job or affects their status in society. Whereas I think, no, that means you just have to push yourself harder. And then you have to be an even better artist. Like, why take the easy route and shut people out? Let them all in, and then let's all rise up together. Because how much better would society be if people could just express themselves, talk about it, put it into a format where the amount of people who said, like, this piece of work is about something that I've been through, and they can't explain to you how it felt, but you can look at that painting or that video piece, or you can see the sculpture, and you can feel that. The art's the transmission of a feeling through an object or, item that's presented with intention to somebody. That's how I think we can start to understand each other and get things out, and then not be afraid of expressing off. So many men I know down the pub just won't talk about their feelings, but on a match day they'll cry because it's okay, because it's the football. So, oh yeah, no, we just got promoted back to back to back. That's fine. We can cry. It's like, mate, you're in pain in general. I cry every week. I almost have a routine where I make myself cry because it's just good to let that frustration. Yeah, it's great. It's great to know that I feel. And I'd rather cry and know that I'm feeling something than just be numb on the inside out of pride. That's not a life worth living. I'd rather feel. And I spent too many years not feeling, so now I'm all about, give me all the feelings. maybe that's my new addiction. Maybe I'm addicted to emotions.
You have to share with our listeners, you just took a nice sip of tea.
Oh, yeah.
How does tea play into your life? In the US, we don't, share with us.
Tea is, I'm not particularly patriotic. I'm not particularly nationalistic or anything, but you're only proper British if you drink tea. Like, it's our lifeblood, it's our fuel. I drink decaf because I want to challenge myself to quit caffeine, because it was getting to be a problem where I'd need like 3 or 4 cups of something in the morning to get going. So now I have decaf, but it's just a brew's got that psychological thing you know that like when you sit down and have a cup of tea, there's that thing that you do where you take the sip and you go, oh, that noise. That I think is a quite uniquely British noise. Just, oh, you know, you've just
There
done
has
something
to be
that's
research around what it does for you, like physiologically.
it's yeah. There is some psychosomatic thing going on there, but it's also communal. It's also social.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, you know, I'll get a message from a mate going, "Oh, do you fancy meeting up for a brew?" And like, we'll just go out and often they mean a choca, mocha, latte, whatever, because all that's infected this country now. I'm a purist. I just like just English breakfast tea, just simple. Like, don't do fancy. But it's social. It's when you get in on a cold day with your family, it's like, oh, someone put the kettle on. Like that feeling of a hot cup of tea in your hand, steam coming up. I love it. I love it. It's just great. But I know a lot of Americans who've tried it and just go, oh, it just tastes foul. I'm like, yeah, but maybe that's just a British thing. Maybe we're so self-deprecating. Our favourite drink is something that tastes horrible, so that we can punish ourselves. I don't know. But yeah, tea. There's nothing that can't be fixed with a
I
good,
love
good
that.
tea. Like that's you ask most British people, they'll say the same thing. Our brew solves everything.
You have pointed to some fun
See?
things, though: community, people, rituals, taking care of ourselves, feelings, being human. Being human. We have highs, we have
Yes.
lows. And art. Express yourself. Thank you very much. I've have enjoyed this conversation a ton. I had one. I think I have two more questions. We'll see. Do you still have a picture of your nephew in your
Go ahead.
wallet?
I have an updated version in right here.
Can you share with our
Oh,
listeners the why of that?
that's them there. So that's me in the middle, and then my nephew on the side, and then my niece there, and they're wearing
Oh,
their Welsh flag T-shirts that I got them for Christmas because they're only a quarter Welsh, I think, but just want them to remember where some of their family comes from. But no, I carry that because everything I do is for them. The moment when my brother gave us the call and said, "Oh, by the way, me and Gabby are having a kid," I was like, "Oh no, no! Why have you done that? I don't get on with children. I don't know how to interact with them. I can't do playing make believe and silly voices and dealing with all of that." So I was like, I've told him since. I said, I did feel a sense of resentment that you had dropped this ability of being an uncle on me without asking me first. So I went down a couple of days after he was born. I remember I was in my brother's flat, and like my mum was holding him and my dad was holding him, and Gabby and Ed were like, so my brother walked up to me with him and he said, "Do you want to hold him for a second?" And in my head I was like, absolutely not. No, I don't want. What if I break him? What if I drop him? Like, you can't trust me. I can't even walk through a door frame normally without hitting it because I don't have much in the way of physical coordination. So I said, like, are you sure? I said, what if I don't want to do something wrong? And he goes, look, just you can hold him for 30 seconds and you can just say you've done it, and then I'll take him back, and then it's over. So he handed him over to me and held him in my arms, and I just don't know. Time went somewhere else, and then my brother said, "Oh, do you want to take him back now? It's been 30 minutes." And I was like,
oh,
no, I'm fine. Can I keep him? I just looked at him and just thought, like, I'm your only uncle. Like, there's no other brothers or sisters in our family. My brother's girlfriend doesn't have any brothers or sisters. It's just me. I thought, I have to be the absolute best that I can. I can't tell him he can be anything he wants to be if I'm not willing to make that effort myself. And so I used to carry the picture of just me and him with me everywhere, just to remind myself, like, you can get through this because you got to be able to tell Ernie that you can get through this. And then Cassie was born, and I remember holding Cassie in my arms and thinking the same thing. And now, like, they're my world. I'm going down in, I think, like 2 weeks to see them because it's one of their birthdays. And I can't wait to be there. I cry every time I leave London, like tears of happiness. Like after they've gone to school and like I've said goodbye to my brother and like I'm walking to the train station, there's always like a little tear that drops my eye where I'm just like, man, this is what happiness feels like. And, I get on with them. They talk to me. Last time at Christmas, they even sat one each side of me when I had my laptop open and I was watching the football. And like they don't really know what's going on, but it just felt nice to have something that only I did with them. Like, my mum and dad aren't into football, my brother's not into football, but they just wanted to watch the football with their uncle. And that's great. I've got a picture of him on my wall there, like I can just see out of the corner of my eye, and it's like, they gave me something to live for, something to strive for. Like, it clarified to me what my goals were. And now I'd love to go back and meet that version of me that was there just before he found out and go, oh, just you wait. I remember my housemate telling me, like, oh, once you meet him, you're going to be fine, you're going to love him. And I was like, am I really? I can't form an emotional attachment to a cat, let alone a person. How wrong I was. I think I just learned that I was afraid of connecting with people and afraid of, taking responsibility for someone else. I'm really glad that I faced it and got over it, and I've got a nephew and niece. It's amazing. It's awesome. I love them. I love them to bits.
I bet they think you're a pretty cool uncle.
I hope so. I mean, I'm the only one they got, so they're stuck with me. So by
I bet
default,
they do.
I'm their favourite
You
uncle.
don't have to go to that self-depreciating, that trait that we have as humans. Okay, so I have one wrap-up question that I ask everybody. What does the world need to hear right now?
Many things. I think it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be afraid of change and difference and things that are new. It's frightening. But often on the other side of that is joy. You don't have to be afraid of your neighbours. You don't have to be afraid of people in other countries or people who are slightly different to you. You could just do what Bill and Ted do, which is just be excellent to each other. Like, that's what we need. That's what the world needs, is to watch Bill and Ted far more. Because that's one of the greatest life lessons you can have. Just be excellent to each other. Why not? I grew up around all different cultures, all different people, all different sexualities and orientations and political leanings and all that. And for the most part, we got on. Because we just learned that we could. And we learned that in football. When we all wear the red and we're all there on a Saturday, we're all one. Even if we disagree about stuff. So it's okay to love other people. It's okay to be afraid. Like, just reach out. We're only going to get where we're going to go if we go together. Otherwise, it's a very dark path, and I don't want that for my nephew and niece. So I would like it if, get over yourself. Get over yourself and learn that other people can be awesome if you just take the time to talk to them. Yeah.
Awesome. I don't want that path for you or I either. No one deserves that path. Thank you. Thank you, Olly, for your time. This wasn't easy because we're in complete different time zones, but it's been a really lovely conversation. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on Hopeful Conversations. And remember to tune into our next episode. And until then, remember, hold on. Pain ends. Thank you.